Ramesh, you can hear me clearly, right?
Yes, Kamal.
Okay, perfect. I'll mute myself now. Hello? So, yeah, Ramesh, can you hear me?
Yes,
Everything
Kamal.
clear? Voice?
Yes, fine.
Okay. Okay, I'll start the meeting now. Okay, good evening, everybody. This is a webinar organized by Scholar IT Solutions. And this topic for the day is like guidance on handling difficulties in career. Like we face a lot of career difficulties from getting a job, and people think that once you get a job, everything is fine, everything is done. We can move on, but it's not like that. The tough part actually starts after you get a job. And we've been getting a lot of requests as well, like on a lot of questions, and people are not comfortable asking questions in front of other people and on the screen as well. So the first 30 minutes of this webinar will be about the general problems which we people face and the kind of skills which you need. And the next 30 minutes will be about actually how to deal with specific problems which has been sent to us from last week. Before we start with the webinar, I would like to talk about my company, Scholar IT Solutions, the organizer. So Scholar IT Solutions is a IT solutions provider. We have a lot of people with technical and domain specific expertise. Main field of expertise include DevOps and DBA and all general IT applications. And the team is like serving the entire United States. It's one of the best company in the United States. And if you want to know more about the company and what they're doing and everything like that, you can just follow all the social network websites, social network and everything like that, Facebook, LinkedIn, everything. And okay. So I'd like to talk about a little bit about myself as well. So I'm a freelance consultant, and in my free time, I also mentor and advise people. I'm expert in a lot of technologies, and that's one of my key areas where I work as a consultant in technology and guiding businesses towards digital transformation and also developing the business area and everything. And I also do a lot of consulting specialist work, as in like I assume a lot of other roles. One of the roles which I predominantly do is like HR professional. I mean, I recruit people, so I know a lot about what kind of people face all the difficulties in their career and everything. Okay, we'll start with some career growth tips. So the main thing about career growth is like people get into a job and they have this relaxation period, because when you're searching for a job, there is this tension and stress like, will I get a job, will I get a not, or like that or anything. And every single person who's gotten a job takes some time to relax because they've been stressed out from like getting into a lot of jobs, and there is a lot of stress in that. And this is yeah, this is natural. Obviously after you've played a lot, you want to rest. So this space is actually dangerous only when these people get too comfortable in that. So initially, maybe a month, a person might be like, relaxing in their job, not doing anything like that. But beyond that, if they keep on doing that, then they'll get used to that habit. Like if that habit continues for more than 3 months, it's going to be a part of you. You can't change that easily. So you should break that habit. You can take a month of relaxation period where you're like chilling around from the stress you faced beyond, I mean, when you're beyond the doors. So the next thing what you can do is you have to think about career growth. Like either you've chosen a career or the company itself has chosen some kind of thing for you. Like most people who go into IT and they don't have an idea what they do, the company itself assigns them into databases or testing or anything like that, and most people are fine with that. But once you've chosen that as your career, unless you're interested in interjob posting or anything like that, and let's just say you're really comfortable with being a DBA, and DBA always has a scope because databases are everywhere and the big data and everything like that. So you've just done some easily you adjust to the growth and everything like that. It can be a slow process or it can be a very big process. Some people take a lot of time to get adjust to the surroundings and the growth or change and anything like that. And other people, they are very comfortable and change, they adapt quickly and everything like that. So depending on that, you can just have a method of how you think about growing your career. One of the best ways to grow your career is acquire new skills. And that's very obvious. You don't need me to say that you need a little bit more skills to advance your thing. And other thing which you can do is networking and being nice to people in general, because you don't know who is going to help you in your career growth or how they're going to help you. So it's always general to be maintain a healthy relationship, not a close relationship, healthy relationship. You don't get into trouble with anybody, or you don't get into a wrong foot with everybody, or like that. You should be a little bit more socially viable if you want to have a positive career growth. That is more important than the other steps. A lot of people can acquire skills, and that people are everywhere. If you want to climb the ladder and go beyond them, you need to be more of a people person. Okay, so learning new skills. So how do you learn new skills? And if it's technological skills, it's very easy in this age and time, because you don't even need to pay. You can go to YouTube. There's a lot of free courses and a lot of materials available for free in the internet, which you can easily acquire. So in this day and age, I see a lot when I recruit for people and companies in some, there is always people coming in with technological skills. Before, it wasn't the case. When I started my career and everything, people did not come in with technological skills. They came with basic degrees and everything, and the company had to train them. Those were the age of trainers, where so many trainers were coming in and making a lot of money. But these days, trainers, as the scope of trainers has become more of a technical trainer. So why is that? Because everybody is coming in with technological skills, and if you should not be left out, you should immediately start learning skills. And there are certain skills which are essential, like using the computer, that, and mobile phones or anything like that. And there are other skills which you acquire, like a specific software skill or mathematical knowledge of this thing, or any kind of thing. It usually depends on the kind of career you've chosen, and sometimes it might be a communication skill or people skills as well. So this learning process has to be always a part of you. It can be very slow. You can learn one thing per day or one thing per week or one thing per month even, but you have to constantly be on a learning phase, because the age and time is like that. If you stop learning, you become stagnant and you will be phased out of the equation. You have to constantly move forward. You can move slowly, one step at a time even, or you can move faster, but you have to move front, learn new skills all the time. And how do I learn new skills? So if you choose on a proper path, testing or any kind of thing in the IT or in your business thing, learn skills which are relevant to that. And it's very easy to find out. You can just simply Google on the internet. You can find out what are the relevant skills for this field and everything. A lot of people write the blog post, and soon enough, we are planning to write a lot of blog posts to guide people in different careers as well. We are planning on that soon. KTExperts website, and we'll have a lot of guiding knowledge on acquiring the relevant skills for each field as well. So keep us in the following list as well. Follow the web page and everything like that. You might find some interesting tips and advice as well. And I'll be personally authoring some of those as well. So some other things is like workshops. And most people these days are providing a lot of workshops and seminars on YouTube itself. Even we record all these things and post these things on YouTube as well, because of people want to refer those kind of videos and everything like that. There is endless amount of knowledge out there in just YouTube itself, and you can find so many things and learn new things through that, and improve your skills. That is added upon what we've already given in here. Like, you have to, once you acquire a skill and you know that it's a valuable skill, for example, data science, artificial intelligence, and big data, all these skills are like highly valuable. They're not going to go anywhere in the next 20 years. In the next 20 years, they're going to be booming. So in that case, frequently they're updated. Every 6 months or so, every 3 months or so, there's something new in the field. Somebody has made a new discovery. Somebody has made a new contribution. So you need to keep in touch with that as well. So when you do stuff like that, you can get a lot more exposure to all these new things, and it can give you an edge in your job. Because a lot of people don't update themselves. They get a skill and they get outdated so fast. And before, it took years for a person to get outdated, but these days it might even take days for a person to get outdated. I see so many people not, following any kind of news, and eventually they get phased out and outdated, mainly because they didn't update it. You need to, spend a little bit of time reading all these kind of articles and updates. Everybody has a blog these days. Before, yeah, it was some one company or two company updates, everybody using a blog. Now everybody has blog posts to keep the audience updated, and you can subscribe all those things to actually come to your mailbox if you want to. If you don't want to go out and read those things like that. And the life skills are second most important thing you have to have in your career. And first is always communication skills, and I always talk about that the last. And life skills, as in you need to be self-aware, have some empathy and sympathy towards others, problem solving and decision making, interpersonal relationships which you form in the office and in outside the office as well. They might help you. How to manage your stress levels, how to communicate and collaborate with people to move forward, because sometimes you might not like be able to move forward. And a lot of people come to me and say like they're not able to move forward from their level. And why is that? So sometimes you can't move forward by yourself. That is why you need to be in with people. Sometimes two people or three people are needed. Like the common example which I take for that is like I ask people like who discovered the light bulb, and everybody goes like Edison, because everybody knows that. But if I ask like who discovered the cell phone, nobody knows that. Why? Because cell phone is made out of like so many different parts: electronics and communication, electronics and engineering, software engineering. So it's a team effort. No single person can take credit for a complex device such as a cell phone or a computer. Even each and every part is manufactured by a different person. So these things are complex technology working together. The same way, if you want to move forward and you're not able to do it alone, it means that you need to collaborate with other people, network with people, find people who can help you move. So it's like crewing a ship. A ship cannot be crewed by a single person. Every single crewman is important. So if you're not able to move forward, you always have to approach other people and find out like what they are good at and what they are bad at and what you are good at. That's self-awareness. Sometimes you might be able to like you're really good at communicating, but you don't know what to communicate. And sometimes there might be a technical person who's not good at communication. So if you can work together, he can tell you about the technical stuff and you can communicate that, and eventually it will be beneficial for both of you. And thinking and creativity is like almost essential these days in almost every kind of field, mainly because of how everything requires you to think out of the box now. Because if something is in the box, everybody has used that technique over and over again. So you have to think out of the box if you have to move around. So, and those kind of skills have become essential. And you don't have to be the Leonardo da Vinci or Picasso of creativity. You have to like a little bit of thing, like thinking out of the box. Sometimes, you might be using a technique which has been used for ages and ages. Exploring a new technique which has recently come in might actually improve the productivity. So that counts as creativity as well in an office environment. And one of the things which I find most people have trouble is with accepting criticism. People get offended easily, and sometimes criticism comes in very different manner. Some people are give it as constructive criticism. They're like come and give you advice like, hey, you're not good at doing this thing, so try to be a little bit more open about or doing all these things or something. And sometimes it might be harsh. They might call you good for nothing, or they might call you you are horrible at doing this or anything like that. It depends on the person and how they express that to you. But you need to see all those with a single kind of mindset, whether it's coming in a nice way or a harsh way or anything like that. Criticism is criticism. And if you want to improve in life, you really need to hear this, mainly because we spend like maybe few seconds or few minutes seeing ourselves in the mirror, but everybody are looking at us or maybe seeing at us for a much longer time, and we don't know what they are seeing, what they are like thinking about us, anything like that. Unless you spend hours and hours in front of a mirror, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how you look to other people. Selfies and pictures, they don't count because you pose for them. So the thing is like you need to hear criticism in every single way possible to get all those input from people to improve upon yourself. If you ignore them or if you get angry that they're insulting you or they're doing all these things, you will never be able to move on to the next level, because you'll be stuck in that place, because you don't know what you have to improve, which direction you have to improve, or what you have to change about yourself, or what you have to alter about yourself. So the thing is, you have to take that in a common mindset. Okay, this person is saying something, so I'll just take the criticism in that, instead of taking the tone in which he said that, or anything like that. So interpersonal relationships, problem solving, decision making, every single of these life skills are important, not just for your career or anything like that, in every aspects of life. So in this slide alone, life skills, I've explained it a little bit more, and it helps you in every aspect of life, not just in career, in your personal life, your relationship with your parents, your relationship with everybody else. It helps. Knowing all these things, it helps you move forward in life. And the most important of all them are not actually communication, life skills, they're communication skills. Because when most people I've seen have trouble communicating what they have in their minds, because you might say one thing and the other people might understand that in a different way, and the other people might say something different, and you might get a different idea in your mind. So when these kind of skills are essential, mainly because it doesn't matter how much of knowledge or how much of information you have in your mind, if you can't communicate them properly, all your effort, all your knowledge goes to waste. If people can't understand what you're talking, if people can't understand what you're trying to express about this specific technology or anything like that, learning the entire technology becomes useless. So, for example, take the computer itself. There's a lot of complex technology which is going on in this. But I would say the most important technology is the monitor itself, because anybody who's used the computer constantly, just think about it. You unplug the monitor, every single complex advanced part inside the computer becomes completely useless because you can't see the output. That's the same way communication skills are essential in every angle possible. No matter how much knowledge you have or anything like that, becomes completely useless. So we really don't want that to happen, because each and every skill or anything like that, we spend a lot of time acquiring them. We spend a lot of time improving on them. And if you're not able to present them properly, if you're not able to communicate them properly or collaborate with people, then every single thing becomes useless. So you should work more on your communication skills than anything else. And how do we do that? The best way to do that is practice. I can tell you about communication skills an entire day, and the next day you won't know what to do or anything like that. Communicate as much as possible and interact with people as much as possible. And if you're an introvert, or if you don't know, if interacting with people is hard for you, then find another way to communicate using chats or emails or letters or anything like that. Verbal communication is not the only part of the communication. There's body language, there's written communication, there's visual communication. There's so many ways we can communicate. You don't really have to rely on your extrovert characteristics if you have to communicate your things. Okay, so that is part one of the seminar, and the second part will be going on about how last week we requested some people to send a lot of questions, and I'll be answering each and every one of them. And if you have any questions as well, you can just send it to us and we'll be answering it in the next session. Okay, so I'll start with the first one. Why should I hire you? This is a common question which we come across in interview. So let's just say the person is hiring a HTML developer or a business analyst, and your profile and everything matches. And finally, when the HR comes and asks you why should I hire you? So this is a tough question, actually. Not for me, not for the person who's facing, because he's passed all these rounds, and the final question, he's stuck. Why should I hire you? Mainly because you should value yourself, first of all, if others should value you. So you should think I have these kind of skills, I have this value. So by the company hiring me, this value, my skills and everything becomes an asset to the company. I would want to be an valuable asset to the company. That is what they're looking for. They want you to be an asset to the company. The company is paying you money and they're giving you a lot of privileges, ESIP of this, that, and everything. And that is not all for nothing. You are providing the company with your skills and your time in exchange for all those benefits. So they need to know that you are a good hire. By giving you all those benefits and everything like that, they're not making a mistake. You will positively influence the company in a direction which is uh, for the growth of the company. And some people ask me like saying like, can I say about my personal growth as well? But that is redundant. If the company itself grows, it's high likely that you're growing as well. Because let's just say you are joining a company and the company becomes famous. That you working as a part of a company, an employee of the company, also makes you famous. Because when you go out and you're saying that I'm working in so and so company, everybody's going to say like, wow, you're working there. That's a really good company. So you don't really need to mention about your personal growth. You should only worry about the professional growth, like the company growth. And if they ask you a question like, what about your growth and everything, you can simply say the growth of the company is when I'm a part of the company. When the company grows, I'm going to grow as well. So answering this question is very easy, but you should keep in mind that you are valuable to the company. And for that, you have to value yourself. If you don't value that you have any kind of skills or anything like that, then the company will not value you either. Okay, so how to keep pace with the latest trend and technology? I think I mentioned this in the earlier session as well. The best way to keep up with the latest trend in technology is blogs. And video content actually comes out much late in terms of technology, because technology companies do not have like big video production teams. Writing takes much less time. Any kind of updates or anything like that can be immediately written and posted in a matter of hours or anything like that. But if they have to create a video update or anything like that, it takes days. So if you really need to do something like this, you really have to start reading those blogs. That is the best way to keep in touch with the latest trend and technology. One thing is, this can be done everywhere, whether you are in the sitting in a car waiting for somebody, or if you are like waiting on the queue or anything, you can read this everywhere. But watching videos or hearing and talking with somebody who knows the technology, that you cannot do everywhere. So it's better that you read the company's blogs and updates and tweets. Tweets is another way to keep in touch with all these things. The reason Twitter is really famous is mainly because of the tweets are very simple. The company can usually post tweets much faster. So tweets and blogs are the best way to now get the updates from the company. And sometimes the company itself does not have a Twitter account, or they're not active on Twitter. In that case, you have to go to the blogs. Almost all the companies with high-end technologies, they definitely write the blogs because they want to keep people posted about what they're doing. How do I overcome my fear in life? So that is a vague question, because fear comes in very high amount of flavors. Stage fear, fear of interaction, fear of rejection, fear of social anxiety, fear of performance. So I have to know the specific kind of fear you have for me to give a specific kind of answer to that, because each and every fear has to be combated in a different way. But almost all the fears can be combated in a common way. I can tell you just that, since you asked the question. Facing your fears is the best way to combat them. You have to feel if you are taking a coronavirus vaccine, what they're essentially doing is giving you a weaker version of the virus itself, so you can deal with it much better without getting the full effects of the vaccine. So the same way, you need to find if you are fearing dogs or something, you need to be visiting the kennels where they're tied up or they're kept inside, and slowly overcome those fear, or learn how to deal with dogs or anything like that. So almost all the fears, the common thing is you have to face them. But all these, since they come in so many different flavors, a specific kind of answer, I need to know what exactly fear. So that anybody requesting questions hereafter, please be more specific about what kind of things. When you're saying something which is common like this, it's hard for me to answer that. How to be confident? One of the things which most people think is not important, but it's the main thing contributing to confidence, is your looks. In corporate environment, everybody asks you to groom yourself, have a neat kind of look, clean shave, and all those kind of things, mainly because looks give you confidence. If you are wearing a suit, if you're wearing formals, you're dressed as sharp as possible, you feel confident naturally. And if you give more importance to your looks, even if you don't have that much knowledge, your confidence will automatically come. That's why people judge you based on the looks. And I'm not against people judging based on the looks. There are so many people saying like, don't judge by a book by its cover. And no matter how many times you say it, it's been said for 1,000 years, but even we, the people who say that, we judge the book by the cover. So you have to make an excellent cover if you want to sell a good book. That's the same way if you want to be really confident, you have to be investing time in your looks. What are the qualities you must have when you are having a job interview? That again is not a vague question, but a very deep topic. And we have an entire session on that. What are the qualities you have? And you can check it on YouTube or KTExperts website. I've done that session. And you can go, I think that was last week, I think, interview tips and resume writing. So you can go that. And there's another interview on communication skills as well. Those are important. You can see those two videos and you can get a better idea of what you're asking, because that's a really big topic. Asking the wrong question. I'm not sure if I answer the question, but the thing is like, yeah, I don't know what the question means. So I'll just think about, I'll say in the general sense, like if you're asking a question to a person in the interview, most likely you won't be asking the question because it's a very straightforward interview. In interview or anybody, those people ask the questions. The questions or anything like that will come to you only in terms of specific conditions. For example, COVID times. So you need to ask some practical, if you're asking some practical questions, that's fine, but don't ask anything more than that. Like if you're asking practical questions like, hey, it's COVID time, so am I going to be working from home or am I going to be coming to office? So is there any kind of protocol I need to follow or something like that? Or if you are asking something very specific or something, and don't ask irrelevant questions. You're talking to a HR person, don't ask him them when the cab is going to come next, because somebody else would be managing that. So you need to ask the relevant questions to the relevant people. Do you have any questions for me at the end of the interview? Oh, so when they're asking, do you have any questions for me at the end of the interview? So like that, same thing what I said for the previous one. You need to ask them only practical questions which are relevant to the job and the specific person itself, not anything else. So if you're asking some kind of question like, should I work from home or anything like that, the HR person might be knowing that. But if you ask something like, when is the cab coming in, or when is the next shift going on, that he might not know that. So that's not his department either. So you should not be asking what to mention in the cover letter. A few highlights on that would be great. I think somebody asked me this question last week as well. I don't think that's much important, the cover letter itself. The resume itself is like, I've done a lot of recruiting as well. I told you, the resume itself is like too much for a person to read. Most of the resumes people only go for when they actually need it. You don't really need to go and mention anything in the cover letter. And like most of the time, the top portion of your resume should have only your contact information and information about you specifically, like your name and everything. And I don't think adding anything would be like, required. Somebody actually asked nothing. Okay. How can I survive this course? Which course? Again, vague question. You need to answer like, you should give me more details to answer that course. What makes you come in this technology? Again, a vague question. Please be more specific. Technology itself is like an ocean. I cannot understand which question you're asking about. What kind of social services can you give to a customer apart from automation? These days, automation has been there in almost every field. And one of the things is that chatbots and all this kind of automation is there. But sometimes these people need a little bit more, how do you say? If you can write them a personal kind of, most people are, getting messages and anything like that, which seems like it's been sent in bulk. Like every single person is getting the same message. So if you're able to personalize a message and make it random, so people don't get the same message or anything like that, that counts as a lot of it makes the people feel like the company actually cares about them enough to write like that. Any tips on how to control fear? You have to face your fear. And if you're asking about fear and you tell me about specific fear, like about fear of rejection, fear of talking to the HR, or fear of like interacting with a totally different person, I can be like giving more specific kind of tips. And yeah, in general, facing fears is the best way to be ready for that. Slowly facing your fears will help you get adapted to that fear, and eventually it will reduce to a point where it's manageable. And how to earn self-esteem? Again, it comes to the point, looks. Give more importance to your looks, your self-esteem will rise automatically. Within 3 months, if you give importance to your looks, more grooming, self-help, self-consciousness, all these things, your self-esteem will slowly start growing on itself. You won't even notice it's growing. Main thing is looks. Do you need to prepare for an interview like a script or whatsoever? Never do that. Never ever prepare a script, because anybody preparing a script for an interview, if somebody asks a question which is not there in the script, they'll start blinking and the HR will be like noticing all those things. Never ever prepare a script or something. Just it's almost like preparing for an exam. You just prepare all the questions, and when they ask the specific question, answer them. Simple. And just make sure that you are prepared for answering all the questions and you don't blink, because in an exam you can skip a question, but here it might cost you something else. So just be more prepared for all the questions they're asking. I have done a session on that as well. All the kind of questions they ask, stress questions, out of topic questions and everything like that. What is your expected salary? So I also answered this question before. So the thing is that when you have an expectation salary, you should research the market salary as well. You can't ask too much more or you can't ask too much less, because if you ask too much more, they're not going to give you that. And if you ask too less, that's your loss again. So both are bad. And so you need to have a good amount of, like, for example, how much does this job pay? Glassdoor.com and certain websites can, and even other people in the field can give you can actually, if you go and ask another person in the same field who's been working, and if you ask them in the right way, they'll give you that information, how much they're getting paid. Yeah, I've gotten information like that in the past as well, but you can just get those information and you can ask a little bit more. Like if it's 17,000, you can ask 18,000. You can't ask 25,000, 30,000 if they are actually keeping it only at 17,000. So, and you should also be having a self-worth, like I'm worth 20,000, but sometimes let's just say the person is like, willing to give you 20,000 and you are not able to ask for it, then you won't get it. You have to ask. And whenever you ask like that, they're going to ask you like, why should I give you that? Again, the same question comes. So you need to be able to, like, when you're asking for more, you should be able to counter that next line as well, saying that I'm more worthy. I've learned these kind of stuff, I'm worth this amount and everything like that. Yeah, a lot of people ask the same kind of questions. Salary expectation. You need to research the salary. There's no other way for you to find out how much actually they're paying. And you should have a sense of self-esteem as well. Like if the salary is like 18,000 and you're asking 20,000, they might actually give you it. And for that, you need to be prepared, saying like, how will you convince them to give you more money? And an inside trick is like the HR will always try to hire you on a lesser salary. So you have to ask for it if you want more. Some say how much percentage of rise they ask. Some say as per industry standards, which is more generic or professional. As per industry standards, they say that because they don't want to say the percentage, or they want to say that. Industry standards is like if you're making a job cut, you can get up to 30% hike. And there are certain kind of hikes which you get after appraisals. So when you're making a job jump is most likely when you're asking for more money, mainly because if you're in the same company, you're likely to get only 30% more than what you're actually earning here. So 30% is kind of the industry standards, but most people don't say numbers at all. They always say as per industry standards to be on the safer side. So yeah. Do I need to study this? I'm not sure which. Please be more specific. What is your strength? Whenever people ask you about your strength, you need to analyze your strength in the first place. And the best people to give your strength and weakness is other people, your friends, because you yourself are not noting unless you spend hours and hours in front of your mirror, or you have more self-awareness of what you are and who you are. And if not, you have to ask other people, or you have to present something in front of them, or you have to do something. Unless you try if you're in your college days or something, there's a lot of time to explore. So you have to try everything and find out which suits you. So when you have a strength, you need to analyze strength, weaknesses, and objectives. Yeah, you have to sit and write, think about yourself, what you're good at, right from your childhood and everything. And then when you're saying it as your strength, they're going to ask you more questions about that as well, saying like, why are you saying that? Why, or what are you doing with your strength? Like, how will that be useful to the company or your professional growth? So when you're saying something, don't say I'm good at singing, because you might be a really good singer, but that's not useful to the company. If you're going into an IT company and you're saying that you're good at singing, that will not be useful. So if you're saying some kind of strength or anything like that, make it like, it'll be a little bit more into the relevant to the field which you're applying for. If work is not until your deadline, what will you do? That is a very bad practice, to keep work piled up till the deadline. So like, right from the young age, we are given a lot of situations where we can effectively do a lot of things. Like, for example, you are given 60 questions and 60 minutes, and you have to efficiently plan your time between the 60 questions and 60 minutes. So you spend 1 minute per question, and you try not to waste your time. So all these kind of things are like to train a person into doing all these things properly. You can't sit for 30 minutes not doing anything and then pick it off at the last moment, stressing yourself. So if your work is not done until the deadline, it means that you've been very poor at planning those things. So if you're going beyond the deadline and the higher officials are like, find that out, that you're definitely going to get yelled at, or unless you're in a crisis situation, you definitely in most cases you get a lot of time to finish what your tasks are given. And sometimes you're given less time, you have to make some compromises, but you need to plan ahead. In corporate situations, very rarely something out of the box or unrealistic or uncertain happens, like COVID. Other than that, you always have time to do all these things. So don't keep it in the last moment. Don't think that I can study in the last moment and pass or something like that. Make it like, structured and organized way to like do these things. How much salary did you expect? I think I answered that question. How to answer hypothetical questions during interviews? In general, hypothetical questions are asked just to see how you respond to out of the box questions or something which is like unrealistic or anything like that. So in general, you can just answer them calmly and not think like, oh, I don't know, or something like that. Because any kind of expressions or anything like that, the HR is noticing you. Because during the interview, the entire focus of the HR is only on you, not the way you're like thinking. I mean, not the way you're dressed or anything like that. They mostly notice your body language. First, when you come in, they notice the way you dress and everything like that. But after that, it's entirely body language, face expressions, everything like that. They are good at finding out a lot of things. That's why they are HR. Maybe then a new HR is unlikely to, like, junior HR or a new HR is unlikely to interview you, because only the senior people and people with more experience come and interview people like that, who are like in charge of deciding who gets to come inside the company. What is the best approach to move to an architect level? As DBA, should learning and having an architect about 2 RDBMS DB? Okay, it's specific to DBMS. Yeah, if you want to become a database architect, you need to have experience and the relevant certifications. So each of these database administration software or anything like that, they have some kind of certification program for you to attend and pass before you can go to that level. Since you've not mentioned which software it is, I can't say which certification you have to go for. but you can easily find out with a Google search. So almost every company with the technology always has this kind of ways to go to the next level as well. So you have to clear the certifications and find out the requirements for an architect, and you can easily find the path to that. The best way to practice public speaking is speaking in front of the mirror, because you're not going to get an audience all the time. So in that case, you have to imagine that you have an audience and you have to talk in the mirror. There's no other way to do that. And here in this age and time, you can actually record yourself. Phones are available with everybody. So you can set up your phone somewhere else and you can just talk as if you're in front of an audience. Just imagine that you're talking in front of an audience, and the kind of school audience or college audience, they're just looking at you, and then record that video and then evaluate yourself based on the video. So that's how you can improve your public speaking. You might be doing something like or something like that. You won't know that. But when you see that video, you'll be like, oh my God, why am I making that weird gesture? So you'll fix that. And some you might notice like that, and other things you might, other people might, you might need them to notice all these things and tell you. So that is a very good way, recording yourself on the phone and finding out like how you can be an effective public speaker. How to act like a professional. And that is again a deep topic. In terms of professionalism comes when you're focused on the task and getting things done. So that improves as you evolve, more tasks you get done, the more professional you become. So if you depending on what kind of tasks or projects, if you're in a project, it's a long-term thing. Once you complete the entire project is when you'll find that you've completed something, you feel like you've achieved something. But if you're working in a task-based environment where you have to complete a task in 2-3 days or 1 week or something, those people have a better chance of becoming more professional. So how do I become a professional when I'm working in a project where it ends only in a year or something like that? In that case, you have to learn from other people, how the professionals talk, how they act, how they control their emotions. In most kind of situation, you have to focus on achieving the objective and not about your personal kind of things or personal kind of enmity towards a person or something like that. If you have deep hatred towards a person who's your boss and you have no emotion talking to him and getting things done, it means you're a professional. That is one of the first signs I see in a professional. They don't care about their personal enmity, who they hate, who they like or not. All they focus is in getting the job done. This alone will take you much high in life when you're dealing with people to go and climb the ladder. It depends on the HR itself. So if the HR is asking some question, it's up, and also your own opinion. If you're a person who's straightforward, you can add a little bit more. Don't say talk. Like if he's asking you are you interested, don't say no, yes, be like that. Put it in a sentence. So if he's asking you what is your how do you say, what are your interests, don't say basketball, tennis, football. Say something like, I used to be interested in basketball since I was a kid, and then later I shifted to football. So anything like that, try to frame a sentence. Don't say it, don't talk too much about something, and don't talk too less either. Just put everything in a sentence. Don't say single letter words or single letter replies or anything like that. So final few questions. Do we need to ask back questions to the interviewer? No, don't do that. Unless it's a practical question relevant to that interviewer, don't do it. Because if you ask unnecessary questions, that gives a bad image about you. Sometimes I've seen that so many people, they don't have a question, they don't have anything, but they still ask questions just for the sake of it. Never do that. That presents you, projects you in a wrong way. Yes, that the interviewer completely knows that you're not confident in your answers. The way you say that, the way you stammer, or the way you have your body language, everything shows that you're not confident. Bias interview fatigue. Interviews are inherently dishonest. I don't understand that. I'm sorry. These days, we see resume with video attached talking about the profile. Does it hold good for all sectors? It's the latest trend. Is it accepted and a professional trend? No, I don't think it has. I've seen this in a lot of foreign companies people using a video resume or sometimes a website resume or anything like that. But technology has penetrated deep inside foreign society, and in India or anything like that, we don't have that kind of technology or anything like that. So if you are having a website or something like that, let's just say that they don't have that, they don't have internet to actually see the website, or they don't, if you have a video or something like that, you can't send it to a person and it doesn't play properly, or it has problems, issues, it's so small, the audio is not playing. These kind of technical issues will bring you down. So it's better not to do that when we don't have the infrastructure to do that, especially with data and signals not there in a lot of things. It's better to stick with the traditional methods which have been proved and tested than to try something new. But in terms of going on a creative field, if you are in a graphics, visual effects, animation, or anything like that, videos, images, they work wonders because those people are more creative and they respond well to videos or uh, images or anything like that. Because if you are going for a creative job, demo reel, show reel, all these things are very default. Your resume doesn't talk there, your videos talk there. So there it is a must. But everywhere else, you should be a little bit more careful of what you're doing. Okay. What do I do when I finish this form? What do I do when I'm attending this? Okay, I don't think those are relevant to any kind of questions. So, oh, maybe they're asking like, what do I do after this finishing this form? So when you're finishing this form, what usually happens is I get this list of questions, and when I'm preparing for the next seminar, I'll be asking this in the questionnaire session. The main reason we are taking questions like this is mainly because people are not comfortable asking questions, or they don't know how they can ask questions in front of people. They want to be anonymous, yeah, anything like that. So if you want the answers to these questions, you have to wait for the next session. And yeah, most of these sessions are 1 hour and they're very informative, and I highly recommend people who want to grow in their career to follow all these recordings, so you can get a lot of information on how to advance your career. Okay, I'm taking this question from Mukund Tolai. If I'm applying for any other domain different from my current domain, what kind of questions can I expect? Am I working as a local IT support person and I want to move into server level administration or DevOps type roles? It's worth to apply from local IT support. Yes, anytime you are like working in some lower end IT support person or something, and you have the skills to go up in this level, in terms of IT itself, it's very like, especially these back end IT and everything like that, your skills will always make you move forward. For example, one of my friends, he's an introverted person, he doesn't talk much or anything like that. He has a little bit of communication skills, he writes well, but him spending a lot of time on his main domain is always like got him forward. And beyond one point, when technology itself got updated, he updated himself with a new technology. And although that was entirely different from what his domain was, he still took it, mainly because there are certain fields where very technology specific kind of fields, like if you look for a HTML developer, they are everywhere. But if you are looking for a Selenium developer, they are not everywhere. So if you are looking for something like that and you want to move up, always do it. Because let's just say that artificial intelligence has endless scope right now. So many people are there. So if you can do artificial intelligence and the company itself is requiring a person who can do artificial intelligence, definitely go for it. But you should always go far away from your domain only when you understand the new domain as well as your old domain. Because in the new domain, you might have a lot of knowledge, but you will be having less working experience. So the kind of questions they will ask is that you have domain knowledge, fine, but what about your working experience? Because your working experience is in a different domain, and in this domain, you don't have working experience. So there are a few people who are doing, like, for example, DevOps. If in order to prove that you are working in a DevOps, I mean, you can work in a DevOps role. There are some people who would set up a personal DevOps server or some kind of personal setup, like just to prove that. For example, let's just say web apps. You're moving from Android to web apps. So the best way you can prove that is you can just create a simple web app for yourself and then show it to them, saying like, I am confident in working and moving to the next domain because I have working experience, I have project experience as well. So you can do the same thing in DevOps as well. There are some kind of courses in the internet where they train you on real world DevOps situations, and you can show that as proof that your domain knowledge is on the working side as well. So if you do that, you can confidently apply. And whenever you're jumping from one domain to another, make sure that the domain which you're going for has a lot of scope in the next 10-15 years. So you don't have to worry about career choices. I hope that answers your question. And if, I think, yeah, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Hi Kamal, thank you so much for just clearing that out, and yeah, really appreciate that. So one more doubt I have, just like if I just mention my resume that I'm working as a local IT support, so I have seen that a lot of companies are rejecting that particular application of my job role, and they are not looking for that person who is looking for a DevOps role directly from the local IT support. So I don't know like how I can make my resume that much better to show them that I have the skills. I just need a platform to showcase those skills. So I don't know how I can do that. And also one more thing is, like as you said, that I have to show the particular projects to them, and I have done so many projects, and I'm already on the at tech company. I'm already with one at tech company where I'm just pursuing the DevOps course. So I have been going through that course, and I'm doing the practicals and everything. I'm okay with that, but I'm not able to understand why the companies are rejecting continuously my resume, and they are looking for the experienced people only, not the people who are coming from the different domain.
Yeah, with any company, they are always like skeptical about hiring people who are not interested. I mean, experienced in that domain. But it does not happen with all the companies. Some of the companies, they are looking for these kind of people, and they don't have enough people on these working in these domains. And in those kind of domains, how do you showcase your projects? Are are your projects on GitHub, or are you hosted there somewhere in GCP trial version or anywhere else?
Yes, I did some basic projects and I have put them in a GitHub as well. But I don't think that they have gone through the Git page. So yes, I'm
Okay,
not
so
sure.
how have you been applying? Directly applying, or you have been applying to HR or through somebody else?
No, sometimes I'm applying from Naukri, sometimes I'm applying from LinkedIn, sometimes from directly on from the company's website, like that. Like where I'm getting the chance, I'm applying it from there.
Okay, so I think if you put a little bit more effort into writing your resume, then you might have a better chance. Because DevOps is a domain which is has a lot of requirements these days, and I think most companies are actively recruiting for that. You can even find that in LinkedIn. And sometimes it's better to like when you are, for example, let's just say that I'm a person who's well versed in technology, and suddenly I say that I can also do HR recruiting. They'll start staring at me. You said that you are a expert in technology, and you're asking me. I mean, you're coming up. You're saying that I could recruit. And you know what I'll say? I'll say, like, if I have to recruit people in technology, I would be the best person for you to hire, because I know the technology well. So you need to have that kind of answer. So when you're doing that, you have to highlight the fact that DevOps is the main skill you're applying for, and local IT support has to be a little bit. The thing is, you have to make sure that they don't go to that thing. DevOps should be the ones highlighted, because that's the one they're looking for. And also the order in which you write them is important. For example, if you've written local IT support first, and they see that, they might thinking that this person is not skilled enough. So you have to, everything matters. However you frame the resume or anything like that, because people have a habit of, right from our age, people don't read from the bottom up. We read from the top down. So the first thing they have to see is their requirement, and not your history or anything like that. So when they ask for experience or something like that, or if you have any hands-on experience, you could say that, yeah, I have a GitHub page where I've hosted all the content and everything like that. because the person interviewing is not always like me. I know about technology and I know about HR as well, but it's people like me are very rare. The HR person has very less thing about the. That's why we have the technical interview. So you need to go to the person who can verify you as a technical person. So one of the things you might have tried this, but I would suggest for you to contact the HR people itself directly than applying to them. There are many people in LinkedIn who recruit directly. They'll be like, PM me or text, comment on this thing. I think you might have tried that as well.
Yes,
And
yes, I do.
do a little bit more searching in that part, mainly because some people are like me. They have technical knowledge and they have HR knowledge as well. So in that case, they would understand you better. Like you have this knowledge and you just need a little bit more trusting on your part to showcase that skill or anything like that. And you have to make a confident kind of, you did speak very confidently with me as well. So that you said that I have the skills, I just don't have the platform to showcase it. So you need to be confident like the same way with them as well. You need to be like that and never see them as like more intimidating people or something. They're just people like you and me. You have to be formal. As long as you're formal, there's no way of bringing in conflict. So you can be formal and confident in your skills. And I wish you good luck on getting your job, because I think you might be a really good skill person from the way you're asserting yourself that you have these kind of skills. So keep on trying, you'll definitely get it. And try out of box methods as well, contacting them directly. And Naukri itself is kind of a spamming place. You might want to directly apply to the company, and there is so many companies hiring itself. And yeah, do a little bit more research as well. And you might have already done that, but keep trying. You will definitely get a job, because that field is always hiring.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Kamala, for clarifying my doubt. And definitely, I will try all those things. And just one more, that as you have said that I have to mention as do not mention the local IT support in the at the top of the resume. So what should I mention? Because if I put the work experience, I have only one experience, because I joined as a fresher and directly I joined in a local IT support. So I have
How
only
many,
one
how many years of
experience
experience?
with that. Yeah,
How many years of experience do you have?
2 years.
So you've been working as a local IT support for 2 years.
Yes.
Is there a way that you can remove the word local?
Yeah, we can actually. My designation is like system administrator, so I can show them as I'm working as Linux admin, so they will not going to question me. But I have that skills too. But whenever I told them that I have said them that I'm working as a low Linux admin, so they're asking me the what do we say, the situational questions, like what you will do if that things happen, like that of things they are asking for. And they're asking for the projects, what projects you have worked on in the Linux administration job. So that things are very difficult for me to answer, because I'm not exactly working as a Linux admin. So that is the main challenge I have.
Oh, then you just have to find out those. It's not that hard to find out. You can just easily find out if you do a little bit more research. And as much as internet is good for the surface information and everything like that, if you want to get a little bit more, are you looking at my screen, by the way?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so if you want some more, Google itself can give you a lot of surface information, but if you want more, you have to invest in a few. Like this is a website where a lot of and this I think only 500 or anything, 250 or 500 is what is going to cost you to get in this thing. You can just get any kind of course here, and sometimes you can subscribe to this for monthly fees and you can get access to all these things. So it might, whatever you might be looking for, some of these courses, they have hands-on experience, workshops and like that. Look at that, Mastering Linux Administration. It's even June 2021. It's the latest one. So here you have, look at this. They have explained it in detail. So the thing is, apart from like, how do you say, Google itself, it has only surface information which can give you the path or anything like that. If you want to go and if you, how do you say, learn deep enough for these people to pass these technical interviews, you need to read more literature like this. You can, yeah, I think you can get it for the ebook version. You can get it for very cheap amount. This pricing is coming in US, so it seems expensive, but euro. But if you go and get the local website thing, it's actually much cheaper. And you know about this website called Udemy, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, not all courses in Udemy are good, but Pact is they are kind of filtering out. Most of these things are written by professionals. So yeah, so the working professionals write these people write things. So the good thing about getting this information from working professionals is whatever issues or whatever, look at this disaster recovery and diagnostics and troubleshooting. These people have gone through all these things. They have a wealth of experience, and you can go through all these things, and you can find out about all the working conditions, what you'll be doing, and what kind of things is there, and everything. They have in-depth explanations. And always look at the date as well, June 2021. So it's relevant because technology gets outdated really fast. So these kind of places then give you more information. And if you and most of the time these people have been good enough to give the code for free. And I first thought, I couldn't believe that they're giving out the code for free, but yeah, they don't mind, I think, because you can now, if you are a person who can learn from dismantling code itself, you can find the code for here for free, and you can just uh, take a look at it. And if you don't want to buy the book itself, yeah, you can just buy the book only when you want it. You can use the code to learn yourself. It's harder to learn from the code without a guide, but still, if you're a person skilled enough to do that, you can do that. Or you can just buy the book and do that. So in-depth information, you always have to take up a course or you have to read a book, whichever is better. But if you're really serious, I would suggest reading a book because it has a lot of information. Most of this page, and you would not need to be reading every single page here. You just need to know what you need to know. So these things are a wealth of information, and they would be guiding you. You will be uh, you preparing like this, you immediately answering all these questions. Even if you don't have work experience, they'll be surprised. Like, you said you're able to answer all these questions. How is that possible? So you can say that I researched that much about this because I want this job, and I know that I have the skills and I can offer this kind of skills to the company itself. So that kind of confidence comes when you've read a lot of things.
Yes, Kamal. Yes, yes. That definitely worked for me, and I'll definitely go for this book which you have referred me, and we'll see. We'll see. Definitely, I'll try to do these
Yeah, yeah. I
things.
wish you a lot of good luck in finding thing, and you keep on looking. You will definitely find your job. Try not to use words like local IT support. Use like system admin, IT administrator, or
Yes,
try.
yes. I'm using that words only, but for you, for your information, I'm saying that I'm in the local IT support to be
Okay, okay,
specific. So
fine.
you can quote
Thanks,
me
Sanjay.
according to that. So that's why.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah, just if you want, you can watch the video on resume writing I've done. That was last week. That's there in the KTExperts YouTube website. You can just check it out as well.
Okay,
And I've
okay.
given a lot of other tips as well in different. You can just quickly, fast forward and get what you want in that kind of situation. You don't have to sit through the entire thing, right? Yeah.
Okay, Kamal. Thank you so much for guiding me. Thank you so much.
Okay. You're welcome. Yeah. Okay, I'm closing the session, Ramesh.